Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fairfax Files. Today we're going to talk about a case, actually, another case where the names are going to be kept confidential. This story was given to me by the person who actually committed the crime. Very interesting turn of events. This gentleman wants to get things off of his chest. For confidentiality reasons, we are going to make up fictitious names for the people who are involved. We're going to name the husband Rob. We're going to name the wife Ruby. So Rob and Ruby, they met when they were high school sweethearts. And Rob, he was a little bit of a gamer. He was silent. He kept to himself. And in grade 9 is when he met Ruby. Ruby was very chatty. She came from a very fundamentally Christian background. She believed in husband and wife and family. A great girl. She took Rob by his hand and introduced him to so many people in the school that he became popular because of her. But it wasn't really popularity that he wanted. He just wanted to be loved. And he wanted to love Ruby. And that's exactly what they did. They loved each other for a very long time. Straight up, all the way through high school. And that is when Ruby said to him, "Listen, Rob, what I would really like is to be a stay-at-home mom. I've always had a dream. My husband would be an engineer. He would get a very high-powered job and be so important. And this is what I want. So when we get out of high school, I want you to continue on to university. And I'm going to help you go through university. I will work a job and I will help you all the way. I'll help you study and I'll help you pay for university." Rob thought that was very admirable. And he said, "Are you sure, Ruby?" She said, "Yes, absolutely. This is what I want. I want a husband that's going to go to work, take care of the bills, and I take care of the home and the kids." Of course, Rob loved Ruby so much that he would have done anything for her. So he said yes. So said, so done. He went through school. He became an engineer. He graduated top of his class. And it's not only because Ruby was helping him. It was because he loved her so much that he studied and made sure that she could work and not have to help him study at all. So she was very proud of her man. Then he was offered a job across state lines. And that was away from their family. But because she really wanted him to have a high-powered job, he took that job and he accepted it. And they moved to another state. There, they decided that they're going to get married. And then they started to have their children. After their second child, Rob was very settled at his work. He was getting promotion after promotion. And Ruby, she was actually doing really good with the kids at home, like he always knew she would. They were a really happy family. They did everything. Church on Sundays, on Saturdays, they did family excursions. And Rob was always home by at least 6 o'clock. Ruby always had dinner on the table. The children were always happy and in bed by 8. Now, once the children were in school full time, Ruby started to get a little bit bored. She wanted something more meaningful to do with her life. Instead of just sitting around watching soap operas, cleaning, she wanted to also make a little bit of money as well. So she started to work online doing sales. Before you knew it, she was doing very well. And not only that, her clients were loving her. So her hours were from 10 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she would go get the kids. She'd take them home, she'd clean and do the laundry or whatever, and also cook dinner. Rob would be home by 6. Now, what happened was, about a year later, Ruby started to really take off in her work. And she started to work from 10 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. So that means they had a babysitter from 3 until 6. And Ruby and Rob would be getting off work at the same time pretty much, and they would eat dinner with the kids and everything was great. But then Ruby started to advance more in her career and she started to take on more hours. So then she started to work from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. But it wasn't like work for her because she loved doing what she did. She was making money doing sales and a lot of money and meeting a lot of new people. The only thing is, what happened now was Rob had to start taking the kids to school, which he didn't mind at all. He took the kids to school, he'd get them ready in the morning, and he would get to work by 9 o'clock. He would work until 5:30 and he would be home by 6 o'clock. Now, what happened was Rob also got a promotion. And with this promotion, sometimes he would have to work odd hours. This enraged Ruby because he was becoming the boss pretty much. And Ruby said, as a boss, he should be able to make his own hours. But he tried his hardest, and some days he did not accomplish that. And his co-workers would all say to him, who wears the pants in your house? Why do you let Ruby control you? You're making more money than her. But because he loved her so much, and he knew how important family was to her, he made sure that he put her first. Now, there was a time where he had a conference with his work. The conference was 9 days. People were coming in from all around the world, not just from their state, not just from the United States. International people were coming in. And Rob had a big play in having that conference organized. Well, Ruby didn't understand the importance of it because in her eyes, it was God, family, work. And so she said to him, well, I hope you know that this conference better not run overnight. You better not be thinking you're going out with the guys like those other husbands do. And he said, no, I'm good. Don't worry about it. He called his mother and his father to visit for those 9 days, just in case he needed to stay late at the office sometimes during that 9 days. 2 days he had to stay late. Ruby didn't like it very much at all. But he took the music, she yelled at him, she even threw things at him. Both days. His mom said to him, Rob, why is Ruby behaving this way? You gave her so much your whole entire life. You've always listened to her. You're a fabulous father. You're a wonderful husband. Why is Ruby doing this? And he said, Mom, she's just upset. She's working hard. And she said, Ruby doesn't have to work hard. You make all the money. You make enough for 2 families. And he said, but Mom, she wants to keep busy and it gives her something to do. And the mom was very concerned. And then what happened was the last night of the conference, Rob said to Ruby, listen, honey, I'm not going to be home early. I'm going to be home probably around 9 o'clock. It's the last night and I want to treat all of the gentlemen out to a really nice dinner, before they go back to their own countries. I'm going to try to be home, but we're going out to dinner. We're signing a lot of deals. You gotta let me have an easy one on this. And she said, no. She said, no. You can sign those deals through emails. You can sign those deals in other ways. You be home for the kids. He said, I'll try. She said, try? You better not try. Trying is only half the battle. You better have your butt home, Rob. And he realized that she was overworked, and he also thought, you know what? I'll just shut off my cell phone, put it in the car, and face the music when I get home. And that's what he did. Shut off his cell phone. He put it in the car. He went to dinner with the guys. Now, these guys really respected him. They honored his work. They thought he was a stand-up guy, and he is. So they're all out having dinner. They went to a local pub Now, he wasn't a drinker, but, he had a couple of beers. They were playing darts and pool. They rented the pub out for the purpose of the dinner conference. Who walked in? Ruby. She walked over to the music, told them to turn it off, went on the microphone and said, "Rob, get your ass up here." Now, this is a small pub. The music is not loud. She was screaming on the mic. Rob told me she was screaming at the top of her lungs. He walked over to her and he's like, "Ruby, what are you doing? I'll be home soon." He had a little bit of beer on his breath and she didn't drink at all. She said, "Have you been drinking? What's going on here? You're not coming home. You're drinking." And she said, "Yeah, I'm just letting you guys know Rob is leaving now. Enjoy yourselves. Any contracts that need to be signed can be signed through email. Let's go." She put the microphone down and he just looked at her. And he looked at the guys, put his head down. He went to the table, grabbed his jacket, and he went to his car and he followed her home. She had her own car. He followed her home. When he got home that night, he literally cried. He felt like an idiot. He sent an email to everybody, and all the guys were like, "Man, don't sweat it. Some wives are like that. But, you got to deal with your business, and it was after work hours. So, I'm pretty sure you'll get it together. We're just rooting for you, buddy." And they all understood, and no deals were ruined because of it. However, his image in his head and his heart felt let down. And his mom said to him, "Sweetie, I think it's time for a divorce." Because he told his mom what happened, and he didn't want to because he knew that his mom was not a fan of Ruby. But his mom saw him crying, and his mom heard Ruby yelling about it in the kitchen. She repeated every single thing she did. She said, "You're lucky I only went on that microphone and yelled. You're lucky I didn't tip over that table. You're lucky I didn't grab a dart and shoot every single one of those guys with one of those darts. You are my husband and you should have been home." And this is what she was saying to him. And the mom was like, "This is not good." So Rob went down to the basement to put some laundry in, and that's where he was crying. And his mom went down and spoke to him. And he said, "Mom, this is what happened." And he reiterated. And she said, "Rob, it's time for a divorce, honey. I'm sorry. I love my grandchildren, but Ruby is not the woman for you. Nobody can live this type of life." And Rob listened to his mom. He said, "Mom, you're right. You're right. It's been a lot of years, a lot of yelling, a lot of me sacrificing everything for her. And this was one of the biggest nights of my life." But he said, "I feel guilty because she went to work to help me go through school." The mom said, "Rob, that was many years ago. And if you knew she was going to be like this, you would not have chosen this life. You can leave and still take care of the kids and still have joint custody. You're not a bad guy, and it's not too late to change your life and get your life together." So Rob did that. He filed for divorce. He moved out on his own. He did not get caught up in any new relationship. He loved his life and what he was doing. And all of a sudden, one day, Ruby started to threaten him that he's never going to see the kids again if he doesn't move back in with her. And he didn't like this at all. He was afraid. He was terrified. So he took her to court. And because of her behavior, and because of everything she was doing, the judge actually said that he can have temporary custody of the children. And the children went to his place. One night, Ruby lost it. And she just went into his place. She grabbed the children. She put them in the car. And he didn't want to fight with her with the kids. He didn't want to argue with her over or in front of the kids and pull back. And he just let her take the kids. And he thought, you know what? He'll call the police, have the police go to her place and get the kids and bring them back. He thought he would just do everything peacefully. But it didn't work like that. Ruby walked back into the house and she had a pow pow. And she said to him, I'm taking these kids and you are going to get your crap together and you're going to figure out what you're going to do. They're my children. I had them from my body. This was my life that I planned for me. And you can't take it away. And he saw darkness in her eyes. And she said to him, don't you have me use this on you? And he said, Ruby, please back up. And this is the only thing he regrets. He said that he wished he had have said to her, okay, honey, I love you. And yes, please, let's think about this. Because he had cameras in the house. Everything was being recorded. But instead, he said to her, Ruby, you have to start thinking right. You got to put that gun away. Please, put the gun away. I'm not coming back. This is the way things are going to be. And he was stirring up strife with his words. And he says he regrets it till this day because she went. And then she put the gun to his chest. And he said he was so scared, he grabbed the gun out of her hand and he twisted it. And she ended up pulling the trigger and shooting herself dead. It's not what he would ever have wanted. Now, he is also happily married right now. He does have a little boy. He had 2 girls with Ruby. He has a little boy now. The girls remember their mother, but because there was video footage, he knows that one day, if they ever want to see the videos, he will show her. He's very sad that their mother is gone. There's nothing he can do. He feels like she was out of control. He didn't have to go to jail. He didn't ever get charged with anything. And the kids are being raised very well. His mom lives now in the same state that he lives in. She helps out as much as she can. And his new wife is the opposite of Ruby. She's actually very kind, very giving, and she's a doctor. So she also works very long hours and she understands the importance of his career. Guys, sometimes we have to really be more understanding about our mates than what we realize. Thank you so much for joining Fairfax Files. Please be safe out there. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button. Help my channel grow. I make these videos for you and also for the people that lost their lives too soon and also the people who were affected by the crimes that I mentioned. Thank you so much. Please, until I see you again, be safe out there.
The shadow falls where truth won't speak. Innocence stolen week by week. Unsolved mysteries call from the deep. The silence, it screams, it cuts, it weeps. Cold cases live.